Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 19th of May of 2023. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And of course, the most important and the most interesting updates are coming from Bakhmut, where the Wagners have almost completed the clearing of this town and the capturing of this town as well. Today, the Wagners continue their offensive operation, continue advancing, and the Russian sources are claiming that as a result of offensive operation during the previous 24 hours, the Russians managed to establish control over this small block that located between Domino and the church on the south. And so this is the first block that was taken by the Russians. And furthermore, some Russian sources are saying that Wagners continue advancing in direction of the MiG-17 stadium, and as a result of the progress for today, the Russians captured another area. So right in front of the MiG-17 stadium. So probably this is another territory that was captured by Wagner during the previous 24 hours. From the other side, the Russians published another video of this area. As you can see, during the day they continue attacking this area using the all types of artillery they have. Probably most of the Ukrainians have already left this area, and some sources are saying that probably and very likely that today Wagners are going to report about the fall of Bakhmut and the capturing of this town. If you ask me, I'll give you my opinion. I don't agree with this. I don't think that Wagners are going to announce of the fall of Bakhmut today, even if the town is going to fall today. And now it's not just about the situation to make everything clear, to make everything clean, to secure the area. It's not just about that. If you remember somewhere a year ago, Mariupol fell as well, almost at the same days. And for example, as soon as Mariupol fell, the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation, Shoigu, made a personal report to Putin saying that Bakhmut fell. And believe me, this is the greatest battle, this is the greatest victory from the Russian side. And believe me, I think that this is the same case when somebody is going to report face-to-face to Putin about the establishing control over Bakhmut. And as I understand, currently there is something like a competition between the head of Wagner's Prigozhin and the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation, Shoigu. Probably, of course, we're like simple people, we don't understand, but probably as I understand, Prigozhin wants personally to report about this achievement to the Putin, maybe tomorrow. So probably today, these days, they're just trying to fix all issues and to understand how it is better to complete the situation. When talking about the Ukrainians, they continue stepping back, leaving the town, and currently most of the Ukrainian forces are located in the fields in the Valley of Death between Ivanovskaya, Kanal, Chasiv Yar, Khromovo, and Bakhmut. The Russians published another video of bombing the Valley of Death, the Death Valley, using the artillery. As you can see, they covered the Ukrainians' fortifications in the forest lines. I'm not sure that whether anything were able to survive under that attack, but anyway, the Ukrainians don't have any possibilities to continue keeping the town under control. When talking about the flanks, the situation has been stabilized, and this is not about the situation that the Russians were able to stop the Ukrainians advancing and so on. The thing is that the Ukrainians stopped from their side. Currently, they have established a small bridgehead on the south of Ivanovska, so this is some kind of a corridor for Ukrainian forces who are currently with the small groups are trying to leave the western part of Bakhmut. So this is this is the only purpose of the counter-offensive operation on the south in direction of the flanks, just to maintain the corridor and to maintain the safe road for the rest of the Ukrainian forces who are currently located in the western part of Bakhmut. Very interesting update are coming from Prigozhin. If you remember, a few days ago we discussed that Zaluzhny, the head of Ukrainian army, disappeared, and today some people, some reporter asked Prigozhin about the situation with Zaluzhny, and he was asked if he knows whether where is the head of Ukrainian army, and Yegor Prigozhin reported that few weeks ago, the head of Ukrainian army took a decision to visit the combat line somewhere, he wasn't in in Bakhmut or in Ivanovsk or in Konstantinovka. He was behind, but Prigozhin reported that their intelligence discovered the movements of the head of Ukrainian army, and when he was in some of those towns in the back, the Wagners reported that they made a missile attack, and there is a very high chances that as a result of one of those attacks, the head of Ukrainian army was killed. And Prigozhin didn't tell for 100% that the head of Ukrainian army was killed, but this is his words that I'm trying to give you. From the other side, the Ukrainian sources continue publishing of video and photo confirmation of Zaluzhny, but we know, and the sources are saying that all these photos were made before the 14th of April, and so it's like a month passed since for the last time we saw the head of Ukrainian army. It's a very interesting situation what happened with him. Let's complete with finish with Bakhmut. The Minister of Defense of Russian Federation reported that as a result of fierce fightings in Bakhmut during the previous 24 hours, just in Bakhmut, the Russians are calling this Artyomovsk tactical area. The Ukrainians lost 70 soldiers, 5 armored vehicles, 1 artillery system, and 2 raiders and TPQ-50. As you can see, the level of losses in the vicinity of Bakhmut is the lowest, probably lowest since the beginning of the storming operation. So we understand that currently there are no more Ukrainians in the western part. The Russians are not pushing, they're not running like under the bullets. They're trying to force the Ukrainians to leave under heavy fire with flamethrower systems and artillery. The entire losses of the Ukrainians on Donetsk front line, and Donetsk front line started in Marinka and somewhere in the Seversk and Bilogorovka. The Ukrainians lost total, including Bakhmut losses, around 200 soldiers and 15 armored vehicles. So as you can see, this is the lowest level of losses probably for the last half a year on this Donbass front line. So that means that the Russians have almost completed the story of Bakhmut. The Western sources are saying that probably the Russians and Wagners are not going to be replaced after the fall of Bakhmut, and the sources are saying that the Wagners still need to do few things to complete the entire story of Bakhmut, and most of the military experts are saying that Wagners will try to push the Ukrainians while they are here, and at least until the channel, and they will try to take this territory between this red line and the, let's say, Bakhmut. So Prigozhin and his forces are going to stay in Bakhmut at least until they capture Gryaниkovka, Bogdanovka, Khromovo, Ivanovskaya, and the small settlement canal on the east of Chasov Yar. So this is the final step, and after that Wagners will go for some kind of vacation, at least for a few months, and after that probably by the end of the summer they will return back, because according to the speed, according to the timings, somewhere in the end of this year, in November or October, the Russians will try to launch another storm operation of Slaviansk and Kramatorsk. So everything based on the same schedule, same scenario with Bakhmut, but now they will try to develop this scenario on the final fortification in this area, Slaviansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka. From the other side, the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation Shoigu reported that since the beginning of this year, they managed to sign contracts with more than 117,000 soldiers. So during this period of time, while the Wagners were trying to storming Bakhmut, the Russians increased their forces on the territory of Ukraine for more than 117,000 soldiers. So these are very powerful storming forces that the Russians are able to use somewhere on any other front line to try to develop their bridgehead and to capture, because we know that there are still a lot of towns to capture, like Seversk, like Kupiansk, like Liman, like Konstantinovka, like Avdiivka, Toretsk, and probably the next half year exactly the Russian army is going to do this, while Wagners are going to have some kind of rest, replacements, and fulfilling more trainings, signing new contracts, and so on. Another interesting video is coming from Avdiivka. That front line is stable here, but the Russians published another video of fire inside of the plant in the northern part of Avdiivka. The Russians continue discovering and finding the Ukrainian ammo depots, fuel depots. They're trying to destroy them. For now, there are no activities on the front lines. It's very difficult to determine whether the Russians are going to storm Avdiivka or continue advancing in the encirclement of this town or not. But for now, there are no changes. Now let's go through the frontline updates about according to the Ministry of Defense. When talking about the Kupiansk and Liman front line, there are no changes. Most of the mappers confirmed that the Russians managed to not just to capture Masyutovka, but also to develop their bridgehead on the western side of Oskol River. For now, it's very difficult to understand whether they're going to keep this area for longer or they will try to step back in a few days or something like this. But anyway, the Ministry of Defense reported that the entire loss of the Ukrainians on the Kupiansk and Liman front line is around 150 soldiers. So as you can see, also the level of losses has been reduced a little bit. So probably during the upcoming weekend, we're not going to see significant updates or clashes or something like this. And when talking about South Donetsk and Zaporozhye area, the situation is the same. The Ukrainians lost 120 soldiers and without any movements on the ground. So we see some kind of the final stage, the end of this winter military campaign from the Russian side, because this is exactly the end of the Russian military winter campaign, and the main goal was to capture Bakhmut. And after the fall of Bakhmut, we are going to enter the summer campaign, and probably during the summer we are going to see more battles, more clashes, and so on. Another interesting updates are coming from the world. Let's zoom a little bit out, because as you know, the president, not the president, but the Russian intelligence, the head of Russian intelligence, Patrushev, today reported that as a result of the explosions in Ternopil and Khmelnytsky, if you remember a few days we discussed that as a result of those like attacks, missile attacks, there were very powerful explosions, and the level of the nuclear pollution have been increased after those attacks. And today the head of Russian intelligence reported that the polluted cloud is going from western part of Ukraine in the direction of Poland, and currently some constructions, some equipment on the territory of Poland is able to see the increased level of the nuclear pollution on the territory of Poland. So this is a very bad situation, so we'll follow this as well. Another interesting update is, as you know, today there was a very interesting event in Saudi Arabia where the Arabian countries visited this kingdom with purpose to discuss a lot of topics and so on. And the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, also visited this event, and some sources are saying that he was talking with the prince of Saudi Arabia, probably with the king, trying to ask for some kind of help and support, and to, let's say, condemn the Russians' actions in this area. But some sources are saying that Zelensky haven't achieved any success and were forced to leave without any result. But it's official part. It's very difficult to determine what exactly he managed to achieve. Another interesting update, that after the 20 years of some kind of pause, the president of Syria also was invited to this event, and he took place in this Arab League event. So some Western sources and some people, and most of the people, experts, are saying that this is the signal that the civilian war in Syria has ended. And with this invitation and with official visit of this president of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and this is very interesting because since the 2011, this man was trying to fight against the terrorism and against the bad things in Syria. And today he was invited as a member of this Liga. Very interesting. We'll follow this situation as well. Another interesting update is coming from Japan. As you know, today there was a meeting of G7 countries, and the leaders of G7 visited Japan. And I'm talking about the Prime Minister of Canada, of course, the President of the United States of America, not the Donald Trump, and my bad. Also, the Prime Minister of England, United Kingdom, the President of France, the head of European Union, the head of France, and the Prime Minister of Italy. all these guys today visited Japan and they talk a lot, and probably they were talking about Ukraine. And as a result of those conversations, of that meeting, the Joe Biden, the president of the United States of America, reported that the G7 and the Western countries are ready to start supporting and sending F-16 to Ukraine. So we see that this is another level of escalation of the conflict in Ukraine. We'll see what the Russians are able to reply on that. Probably they have some solutions for that, but anyway, we understand that. And a few months ago, there was a video from my site where we're saying that at least this conflict will be ended only after we see the Western airplanes above the territory of Ukraine, because the Western countries in the NATO, first of all, they need to test their weapon. They need to test F-16. They need to test more modern types of weapon, and only after they complete the testings, probably they will finish the special military operation, will sign the peace agreement with the Russians. They will completely change all their weapon or upgrade them, and we're going to see completely new picture and new world after that. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.